on here and talk positively about them Florida Gators, who I gave an optimistic 10-2 record, again, with my orange and blue glasses on. Thoughts on the Gators going 10-2?
Can we do a quick rundown of the schedule? It's funny you said that, because when we started this podcast, I was like, who are we previewing today? And he said Auburn. I was like, oh, okay. I was hoping it wasn't Florida. And he's like, oh, we already did that one. I was like, I was wondering why I was getting all those comments on Twitter about it, and I was just messing. But I had to step away from that one. 10-2, Florida Gators, optimistic. Can you give me a quick rundown? Because I'd like to give you my positive outlook for them Florida Gators.
Yeah, no doubt, Shane. So right out the gate, huge season opener game here. I guess a team many have pegged as a top 10 opponent. Utah comes to the Swamp. Utah at Florida.
Top 10 what? Like football team? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Utah's one of those teams that gets a lot of hype, but they also get punched in the mouth when they usually face an SEC team. I expect no different here with the Florida Gators, 1-0.
Now, week 2, Kentucky comes to town. That's a tricky game, crossroads for both these programs, but I gave the edge to Florida in this one. What about you?
Yeah, we're being optimistic here. We talked about Kentucky a few days ago, and I'm very high on them. I think they got a good ball club. I'm not saying this is quite a 50-50 game, but you look the way these teams have played the last few years, it's hard to say it's not a coin toss. So if I'm being optimistic, I'm going to lean Florida here just to get them to 2-0.
Now, week 3, again, another home game. 3 home games right out the gate here. South Florida. I mean, come on. Get the hell out of here with that, right?
Get out of here. There's only one Florida team that's going to win this game, and it's the University of Florida, 3-0.
Now, let's see if you can take your bias hat off here, Shane. Week 4 at Tennessee. Ooh, doggy. Them Vols are circling this game as a win this season, but I just can't do it, Shane. Watching the history of this damn game the last couple of decades, I gave the edge to Florida. I don't care where the game's being played.
Well, Mike, this is where they get their first loss. No. I want to be optimistic for him, okay? And if you want to be optimistic about Florida, just look at what they do. I mean, even last year, a horrible year, they still beat us, Right. So I think that little psychological edge that they have over the University of Tennessee, until you see it, it's hard to bet against it. So, yeah, give me Florida undefeated at this point. Now, remember, Vol fans, I know there's a few listening. I'm being extremely optimistic here because I think that they've got talent. I'm putting a lot of confidence in AR-15. And you want to talk about a quarterback that's shined, I guarantee it's going to be during this game because it always happens against Tennessee.
Now, next game, another laugher. Eastern Washington comes to the Swamp. They may not leave it alive. You know what?
Yeah, we don't even know where the hell that is, Mike. So go ahead and put them down for a loss. Eastern Washington. They made that one up. That's like that fake school that got in there and played that high school team, ain't it?
Now, this could be a tricky one, Shane. Missouri. It is at home in the Swamp, but Missouri, hell, they played Florida very tight. Historically, this was last time at the Swamp, this was the brawl game, and of course Missouri beat Florida last year with the Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker saber came out. So I don't want to quite call this a rivalry, but hell, this is usually a pretty good game.
No, it would have had, I think, a little bit more luster if Coach was still down there, Mullins, but. That was the rivalry. It was between those two guys. This one's going to be a little bit different. And if Florida is living on a perfect season right now, it's again on the shoulders of their quarterback. And I think at this point in the year, they've got their identity figured out. So I like Mizzou, and we're going to get to them, but optimistically in Gainesville, I can't find them winning that game. So give me Florida with the win here.
Now, this could be a tricky one, Shane. LSU, but it is in the Swamp. It's very difficult to know what to make of the Tigers, but again, I gave the edge to Billy Napier and company, getting that game at home. This is one of the best rivalries in the SEC.
Again, man, this is one of these coin toss games we talk about. The fact that it's later in the season, I'm leaning a little bit more toward Florida anyway. But this is going to be a great game. I would love to find out that they made this a homecoming game again, crank up this rivalry, make it – because let's face it, it doesn't matter who's coaching, it doesn't matter who's playing. Typically, this game comes down to the final possession.
Yeah.
And let's just – being optimistic, let's pretend that Florida has that last drive. So give me the Gators.
Now, next game, Shay, we got a bit of good news, bad news. We got 2 weeks to prepare. But it's against them Bulldogs down there from Georgia in Jacksonville. So I can't talk myself into saying Florida's going to win this game. Can you?
Mike, there's a handful of teams in this country that you can never expect a victory against, and that's the Georgia Bulldogs. They're too loaded, talented. I mean, their third string would give just about anybody in the SEC a ball game if given the opportunity. So I don't think Florida's got it. Now I think they're building something. I think, there is starting to get a little bit of that recruiting buzz, and if they're undefeated up to this point, watch out. They may have some studs coming up on their rosters in years to come, but they just don't have it now. So I don't see them going toe to toe with the Georgia Bulldogs. So give me the Bulldogs in this one.
Now, next game, pretty tough, Shane, at Texas A&M. Mm-hmm. This is where I had Florida losing their second game of the season. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, and I'm going to have to agree with you here because this is one of those other teams that I was talking about, real national champ contenders here, and coming off that defeat with the rivalry, I don't know. They're going to be hungover. It's going to be a tough game to bounce back. You talk about a tough 2-game stretch. That's this ball club's got one. So Florida gets their second loss here with Texas A&M.
Yeah, and that makes the next game all the more important. Shane, South Carolina, they do come to the Swamp, so the Gators going to have that home field advantage. But how many times have we seen a team kind of stumble a little bit, and then it, one loss turns to 2, turns to 3. So by no means is South Carolina going to be a gimme, but I gave the edge, again, optimistic looking here, to the Florida Gators. What are your thoughts?
Mike, this is when it comes down to coaching and it comes down to seniority. It comes down to the locker room. It comes back to who's leading this ball club and who can get them fired. Because when you come off 2 tough games, and you and I both expect losses during those 2 matchups, that they got to quickly get galvanized in that locker room, or it's going to get they're going to have a hungover, and they're going to lose their 3rd straight game. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give the boys credit, though. I'm going to say that there is enough seniority in that locker room, enough leadership to come out, get these boys back on track. So Florida with the win against South Carolina.
Now, next game at Vanderbilt, Shane, I said the only hope the Commodores got is maybe a blizzard rolls through, because this game's late November here in Nashville. Crazier things have happened, right?
No, nothing. I think you're asking. I mean, come on. I know it's Christmas, but it's a little too early for miracles, Mike. Vanderbilt is not winning that game.
Then the last game of the season at Florida State, rivalry game, but hell, them Gators, I don't care who the coach is.
No.
They own the Seminoles, you know what?
Yeah, and you saw that passion last year when these two teams – I mean, Florida had a terrible season, but I've never seen a team fight harder late in the season, because the rivalry is true and it means a lot to them down there. So Florida's humming at this point. They're going to probably a New Year's Bowl game at this point.
Yeah, so 10-2. I mean, who wouldn't take that first year of the Billy Napier era? We've got kind of the same optimistic style record here for the Florida Gators, but certainly that first month of the season is rough. But if you navigate it, you could see the makings of a special season here down in Gainesville.
That's the thing. This is a sleeping giant, and you would like to keep them sleeping if you're not a Gator fan.
Right.
This is a team that doesn't need momentum, and if they do find it, and let's say AR does take that step forward, there's a lot of 50-50 games on Florida's schedule that I could see going either way. Mm-hmm. But if we're being honest with ourselves, Mike, this is a ball club that could find themselves 10-2 at the end of the season. Out of all the optimism that we've put out here, I think this is the least crazy take, in my opinion.
And that's saying something.
Yeah, I mean, because to me, it's all about quarterback play, and you know, you can have a your returning running back percentages and the line, things that we go over. You can have all of that, but the true equalizer, is number 15. And is he the next Cam Newton? Is he the next Joe Burrow? Is he the next quarterback to just take over a ball club and take somebody from nothing to something? Because we could be at the end of the season looking at the Gators saying, wow, they are really damn good. Where did this guy come from? Where did this guy? Because AR-15 is going to make everybody around him better. But that's why I like I said, a sleeping giant. If they do take the step forward, it will be because of quarterback play, and they've got a hell of a quarterback to do it.
Mm-hmm.